What's going on, guys? Welcome to Ant Atmosphere episode 4. Today we're sitting down with William Hunter Carrier. He is the bassist for the Austin Upchurch band. Really cool band, really dig their sound. Their debut album Breakdown is out right now. You can find it on all streaming platforms. This conversation with Hunter was it was great. I'd never met Hunter before, but went smoothly. Excited for y'all to hear it. We talk a little bit about life on the road, how the different styles of this band, each personality melds together into one cohesive unit. And we also get in deep on streaming and gaming, man. So if y'all are Call of Duty fans, you're going to hear his class setup. But before you hear that, let's check out Austin Upchurch. Welcome to Austin.
Smile and a blank stare. I'll put up a good front like I don't care, but on the inside I'm dying slow. But on the outside you'll never know. With the hard times and anxieties, they hold my head down where I can't breathe. Sometimes I feel like I can't win.
All right, guys, we're rolling. We got everybody in the house. We got William Hunter Carrier here from Austin Upchurch Music. What's going on, brother?
Oh, just hanging out a little, chilling at home a lot during my off time.
Got a lot of off time during this pandemic.
Oh yeah, no shows, man. So,
dang, that sucks. So, you're the bassist for Austin Upchurch band, right?
That's right. That's right.
So how'd you get involved in that, man? Let's start off right there.
Man, it's kind of I don't know. I call it luck because I feel lucky to be in the position I'm in. There's a random friend, my brother and sister, or brother-in-law and sister, were having a combined bachelorette party, and a friend of his was going to the party too and needed a ride, and he said, "Hey, man, I got this. Like, if you talk to me at all, music's gonna come up." And so we started talking about music. He's like, "Dude, I got this guy who's looking for a bass player. His name's Austin Upchurch." And I was like, "Man, I've been kind of thinking it'd be fun to be in a band." And so I got his number, and after the weekend, I texted Austin. I was like, "Hey, dude, I hear you're looking for a bass player." And he was coming through town that next weekend because his girlfriend lived in my town, Brownwood, at the time. And we got together and jammed, and it clicked. And I was the first one. He had been doing some solo stuff for a couple years at that point, just some acoustic stuff, really honestly grinding like 3 or 4 hour sets.
Just Austin Upchurch himself?
Just him, acoustic. And he was like, he'd gotten some advice like, "Hey, dude, you need to start a band. You're pretty good. And if you're going to progress, you need to get a band going." So he had auditioned a few people, and then I hit him up and I was like, "Dude, I'd like to have a shot at it." And he auditioned me and I joined, and that was it.
And when was this?
This was, golly, it must have been September of 18.
Dang.
Yeah. So
y'all been working hard for over 2 years now, huh? Or close to 2 years.
Close to it, yeah. So, but I was the first one. So like me and him are like the OGs, and then he was like, "I need a drummer and an electric guitar player." And I was like, "Okay, well, one of my best friends, I grew up playing worship music with him at church. He's a drummer, and me and him clicked pretty well." And I was like, "Oh, I got this dude." And I honestly wasn't sure if he was going to join because it was a pretty big commitment for him. And he was like in the middle of graduating college. He was getting engaged, like all this stuff right when we started. I was like, "Dude, you want to do this?" And he knew like if he says yes, he's in it he's committed. And he said yes, and he joined, and it was perfect. And then it was a month or two went by, and we found our drummer's name is Matt, by the way. I should have said that. We found Reed, who is an electric guitar player, and he can rip. Austin had played with him. He was doing the same thing Austin was, just out there grinding, just acoustic. And he actually has some solo stuff too. His name's Reed Barton. And homeboy can shred. And something about us four together, I think we make a good mix because we all have very different appreciations when it comes to music. And
No, man, I was listening to y'all's.
yeah,
So this was y'all's debut album that just came out in
right,
July, correct?
right,
Breakdown.
yep.
So if anybody hasn't checked it out, Breakdown, Austin Upchurch, it's out on all the platforms. And man, I was giving it a listen through. Me and Ryan were actually. So if y'all hear Ryan chip in, by the way, he's sitting here watching over our podcast, and that's how we got in touch. Me and Hunter and I should say. I should act like I have a degree, you know. But no, man, I was checking out y'all's music, and I went to Tarleton State. So I
Oh,
grew up.
okay.
Yeah, so I grew up in Fort Worth, and hip hop is my main. Like rap is my main, man. I love rap and R&B.
Kind of went to
But
the wrong school there, but
no, exactly, bro, exactly. But I mean, that being said, I'm born and raised in Fort Worth. My grandmother, she plays country music, puts out CDs with her band.
oh,
Like,
okay.
so country music's in my blood. You know, I can't help but hear a good country song and start bobbing my head, stomping my foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he showed me y'all's music, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this is exactly the kind of stuff they'd be playing in the bars if I was at Tarleton right now.
Oh, for
And
sure, dude.
yeah, so y'all sound is quality, man. I really enjoy it.
I appreciate that.
So were you always a bassist? Like when you auditioned to be in Austin Upchurch's band, were you like, I want to play bass, or is that just kind of what you've always leaned towards?
Yeah, so I don't even know. So bass came out of nowhere when I was like a junior in high school. My grandpa, my grandpa and my dad and my uncles, I grew up listening to them play bluegrass. And my
Okay.
dad actually plays bass. So I always thought I would play something other than bass. You know, I was like, I don't want to play the same instrument as my dad. We can't have two bass players at the same time, you know? So my grandpa taught me like 3 chords on the guitar. And then I was in band, and I kind of learned a little bit of music theory, you know, like, if you're going to add bass notes for a G chord, you're just going to play a G, right? And so one day I was helping out with music at church when I was in high school, and one day the bass player didn't show up. So no lie, dude, I'd never played bass, but I knew that I needed to play like on the beat, and I knew where like I knew my scales kind of, and I knew where notes were on the neck. And I rehearsed, and then that was it, junior year. And
Man,
ever
you took
since then,
you
I'm
took
like,
it
I'm a
you
bass
took it
player.
in stride. Took it in stride.
Yeah, dude, it was I mean, I'm sure it was pretty rough. I wish I had a recording of that night or something, but yeah, that must have been 2010. 2010 is
Dang.
when I first picked up the bass. And yeah, so I told Austin, I was like, hey man, I'll play bass. Like I texted him, I was like, I'm a bass player. I've been playing since whenever, and would love to join if.
Well, man, a good sultry bass can make or break a song.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
dude.
That bass line can make I mean, you listen to certain, especially like I was saying, I'm a huge hip hop fan.
Mm-hmm.
But if you listen to hip hop music now, or even kind of that that lo-fi chill kind of R&B,
Oh, yeah.
the bass is what makes the song. You'll hear people humming the bass line.
Yep.
You know?
Dude,
So
that-
you're an integral part of the band, if I must say.
that lo-fi stuff, dude, their bass lines in there. I have a whole playlist on my Spotify. It's just lo-fi stuff with sick bass lines. And yeah, that's one of the things I learned a lot too, though, was at first I was like, okay, I'm just adding some bottom in when I first started playing. But I learned, and this is like, I feel like I've grown as a musician a lot in the last like 5 years, because I came back to my hometown after college and got involved.
Where are you from?
I'm from Brownwood, Texas. It's
Okay.
about, you know where it is. You went to Stephenville, right?
Yeah.
Tarleton State
Yeah.
and Stephenville.
Right.
So I started learning that, you know, the bass drives the song, even without like adding volume or anything. Just the intensity of how I play can make a song feel more intense, or the more relaxed I play can make a song feel more relaxed, and stuff like that. It's been a learning experience for sure, because also now I'm with Austin, my style is a lot more like rock rather than country or worship, you know. And yeah, man, it's been, golly, I don't even know how much I've learned. It's just been ridiculous, just because I've been around. I've been exposed to I'm not sure if y'all know a band named Cody West, or a guy named Cody West.
No, I personally don't.
He's in the Texas country scene, but he's pretty rock too. And like me and his bass player are pretty tight.
Okay.
And so seeing people like that who are a few, I don't know, you can't really say generations, but in my opinion, within the music scene, they're like 2 or 3 generations ahead of us. right?
Yeah.
But like
No,
we
I know
have
what you mean. There's levels to when someone started and
exactly.
kind of the success they're at.
It's like a class, like in high school, you know, like
Yeah.
you're seniors looking down at the freshmen. You're like, okay, the freshmen are going to be here eventually, right?
Right.
But not all of them. Like you look at your freshman class, like my freshman class had like 130 people in it, but we only graduated like 76. It's the same thing with bands. When I didn't ever know this, but when I first started and started learning about this scene, because I was not in this scene at all until I met Austin, and like Austin grew
In
up
this
with.
in the scene is in just kind of that music world, like going and doing gigs, or what do you mean?
When I say the scene, I mean just like the Texas country scene.
Okay.
Like there are tons of people my size and smaller that almost I guarantee you'll have not ever heard of. I mean, you might not even have heard of me until Ryan said, "Hey, dude, I went to school with this guy. You know, you should check out their music." You know
No,
what I
yeah,
mean?
I mean that's what happened, and it's not a knock on y'all. It's just
No, I
like
mean,
you
yeah,
said, there's Texas country is really the only country. It's either going to be like some old outlaw country type stuff, like
hmm
Willie or Waylon or something like that, or even more into the blue kind of bluesy vibe, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Man, I love some Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, and that's almost a straight rock and roll at that point. But
yeah.
Texas country is. It's like I said, going to Tarleton, man. Texas country has always kind of caught my attention, just because there's something about it has that Texas vibe. I don't know what it is,
It's
but you
definitely
know it's
different.
from here.
It's definitely different. You can, if you listen to Nashville stuff and then you listen to our stuff, even if you listen to, so like Parker McCollum's newest song, obviously you know who that is, right?
Yeah, he's probably one of the biggest Texas country, I
I
would say.
mean, he is like, in my opinion, he might be the next George Strait. He is.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, that's a bold claim, but the way he's headed, I think, man, the way he's been producing stuff, and even what I was gonna say was his last song was pretty much as Nashville as it gets. Because like he didn't write that song, it was shopped to him. It was written by Chris Stapleton. Like a Cowboy, I think was the name of the song.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, if you're getting
and
songs written for Chris Stapleton or by Chris Stapleton, you said
yeah,
that's big time right
it's,
there.
I mean, it's huge. And so he signed with the Nashville label, and everyone's like worried about it. But what I'm saying though is, if you listen to people like Florida Georgia Line, and all the super pop country,
Right.
super corporate type stuff in Nashville, and then you listen to Parker's newest super Nashville song, you can still hear the Texas in it. Like,
That's good.
It's still a little different, you know, and there's
That's
something to
something
be
as
said about it. I don't know.
No, definitely. That like sticking to your roots, and that's something that I guess as artists get bigger, and I mean I can't speak. The reason I'm doing a podcast interviewing musicians is one, to put this journalism degree to work. Two, because I don't have a musical bone. I mean, I like to think I can dance a little bit if I've had enough drinks, but besides that, I'm not playing any instruments. My grandma hates me because she wish I would have played instruments, but I'm here interviewing people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's one thing I would think as an artist, as they get bigger, like a la Parker McCollum, like they can't help but their sound starts transforming because they can't stay the same.
No,
But also
absolutely
it's that tightrope of we're kind of losing our original sound, or we're getting a little too mainstream. It's a battle that I mean, y'all are on y'all's first album, but I mean, y'all been playing together for almost 2 years now. Do you think that's a worry, like coming up with a new sound, or y'all just kind of like, let's stick with where we're at and we're making good stuff right off the bat?
Well, it's definitely a progression, because if you would have heard us, I mean, obviously our first few shows, I think our first show went well, but like other than that, like our first month and a half after rehearsing for a month and a half, our first few shows, we were pretty rough, but once we got into it, we had a sound, right? And it was like, to me, it sounded way more like country rock. But now if you come hear us live, so you hear the record and it sounds, some of it's real smooth, some of it almost sounds a little like alternative, like you listen to Better Days or I'm blanking. Could have been me, could have been whatever. Anyway, there's a couple songs, man. They sound super alternative.
You're like, my music's good, I promise. My music's good.
I'm blanking on the song, and I've been playing that song for like a year and a half now.
The one that stuck out to me, I'll say, was I'm gonna buy her gold, or what's that one?
Oh yeah, Honey. Yeah.
Honey, yeah, that's the one that stuck out to me.
That's a real chill one. And to me, that almost, I mean, it sounds country because of Austin's voice and the slide, but I don't know. I struggle to hear I don't know. To me, it's just music, you know?
Have you ever thought, I mean, I'm not trying to be a wedge driver here, but have you ever thought of making your own music, like when you were first starting to get into the music scene?
I have thought of that, and I don't know. I struggle with lyrics, man. I can't write lyrics worth of crap.
Do you do vocals on this album?
Yeah,
On for
so
Awesome Upchurch?
all the backup vocals is me.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a lot of fun recording. I think recording the album might have been the funnest thing I've done. We were in the studio for 2 weeks, and it
So
was
tell me, I've heard that,
blast.
or at least I've seen other artists say recording can get so monotonous and you try and nail the song so many times, you're sick of an album by the time it's done. Is that true?
I mean, there definitely were a couple songs in there that we were stuck for a while, and the biggest part was the drums and bass. Because what makes a good like album or a good song is a really good drumming performance, a really good drum sound. So like the first thing we record on every song is drums, and then bass.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that thing like you were saying, how bass is such an integral part of the song. The drums, I would say, is even more, because the bass plays off the drums.
That's a good point. The drum's all about the timing. It's keeping the timing of the
It's
song.
keeping the timing, keeps it moving along. But also, like if the drums sound like crap, your guitars and your vocals could be right on point. But most people are not gonna, something about it. It's like a subconscious thing. But
Right.
there's a few things where we were trying to hit certain parts, and it's like, hey, let's try this here. But like, there's a few songs that we wrote in the studio. We'd never played it. Austin's like, I got this chord progression. It's the last song. And so we learned it right there in the studio. We learned the chord progression, and then it's like, okay, how do we need to play this? And that stuff can get kind of frustrating.
Oh, I bet.
Because you keep messing up the same part because you hadn't been playing it for 3 months like the other songs you had been. And for the most part, though, I mean, that's only like an hour or two of the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Have y'all had pretty good response? I saw y'all post something the other day about 80,000 streams. Was that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great response. So in the last 2 months, so that includes the 2 singles and the album itself, we have moved up from about 12,000 monthly listeners to 50.
Dang.
Which is,
I mean, that's 100%, 200% increase? I didn't take math in college. I gotta leave me alone.
it's a big increase. And so
Yeah.
because of that, we're, I don't know. I wish I could show it more, show the progress more for the amount of shows we're getting and how big those shows are. But obviously that's not happening.
Right.
But
So with the
because of-
pandemic, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, because of that, because of no shows happening, people are stuck at home, or they're just kind of not doing anything right now. They're listening to a lot more music. And I think
Yeah.
because of
So
that, it's
more
helped us.
streams, less shows, but more streams.
More streams, which help us get shows,
Yeah.
And I think also people are more open to hearing new music because they're like, oh, I'm so bored. I can't do anything. And I've listened to Parker McCollum's new song 1,000 times already. I'm going to go
Yeah.
find something new,
No, doing a deep dive and to find some new stuff. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do late at night when I'm
Yeah.
getting ready for bed is just go find new music. So I guarantee you a lot of people are starting to find your stuff. I'm looking at Ryan's pulling up your Facebook here, and then y'all's Austin Upchurch Music official website. Man, look at this fit you got on. Go to that website, Ryan. Look at this fit you got on.
Which picture is it? They're new
It's,
pictures.
I think it's you're wearing the Rangers jersey.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Pudge
but who's that?
Rodriguez.
Boy, Pudge Rodriguez. Man,
Pudge.
funny story. I used to be a personal trainer at Equinox, right? Up in
Okay.
Highland Park in Dallas.
Yeah.
So big wigs coming through.
Oh, Highland Park is nice.
Oh, dude, big wigs coming through. I'm talking, like Matthew Stafford was there a couple times. Like it was just like, I mean, I never saw him, but like people would tell me. And Pudge comes in, and I'm a low tier trainer. I had just started there. Like I don't know what I'm doing, and Pudge walks in and needs a trainer, and he's looking at me because I'm the only Hispanic trainer that's standing around. And Pudge is, he's habla español, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So he's looking at me, and I can't speak Spanish that well. So he comes up to me and he's talking to me, and I'm like, part of me's like, holy shit, I'm talking to Pudge Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me's like, say something back in Spanish. Say something back in Spanish. And sure enough, he ends up signing with one of the like top tier guys.
Aw.
You know what I mean? But ever since then though, he always said what's up to me, and I like to just, if I can throw a name in the hat there, I've said what's up to Pudge a few times, and that
Heck
makes me
yeah.
happy.
Yeah, bro. I always rock the Pudge jersey.
No, but I like that fit. The butt open jersey band. That's dope.
With the I went hard with the mustache too. I don't know why.
You did go a little hard with the
I
mustache.
went for it just cause though. It's
Hey,
whatever.
full sin,
I was just
man.
having fun, just being
That's what
weird.
you got to do. That's what you got to do. Do you feel like you've kind of been able to let loose a bit more as y'all, like now that this album's out, you're kind of getting some recognition?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the recognition, you really start to feel that when you play shows. So like our first show, it was like whatever, but then we play a few more shows and more people start coming up to you after, you know, because we're not to the point where we're like playing our show and then we're just hiding in the back. We're
Yeah.
still like, okay, we're going to go sit at the merch table for a little bit if people want to meet us, you know, because it's not a frenzy or anything. If we can walk through a crowd at the place we just got off opening for whoever for, and no one's gonna say anything. They might just say, "Dude, good set," you know, or something like that. And
Right.
and you do start to feel that more. And so I'm excited. That's one thing I'm looking forward to is when we finally get to start playing shows more. We have some more recognition. And
Have y'all heard of anything? Any shows opening up anytime soon or anything like that?
man, we do have a show up in Missouri, September 5th.
Oh, dang, road traveling.
Yeah, for real.
Do y'all
It's
just
gonna
pack
be a
up in a
long
van
one.
or?
Yeah, so Austin bought a minivan right before we started playing.
Oh,
It's
nice.
awesome.
Heck yeah.
But that's what it's like to be in a small band. We got this church donated a trailer to us, and he pulls behind the minivan and we
Yeah.
load up in it. We call it band Tetris because everything fits like as perfect and as tight in that trailer as possible. There's no room. No
Oh my
extra.
gosh, I can imagine packing up all the instruments and
Oh, yeah.
amps and everything. Jeez.
And then we're all
jeez.
packed in the van. But yeah, we got that, and then we had a couple shows on the books.
When's that one coming? The Missouri one?
September 5th.
Okay.
Up
That's
at,
soon, man. That's soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's been a while. We've been
Are you worried about some rest?
a little bit. We've been rehearsing just to kind of stay like kind of together and practiced, you know. But the show's just different. It's just different,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'd like to get back into the swing of things. Last summer there was like a good 2 or 3 months where every weekend we'd have 2 or 3 shows, and so it was nice. I travel up to Dallas or Fort Worth and play a show Thursday night, sleep on my drummer's couch because he lived up there at the time, you know. Work
Yeah.
some on my laptop on Friday, play another show. Saturday, play another show, and then head home, you know. And that was
Dang.
nice. And we did that a few weekends in a row. And
That's living it, man. That's
Dude,
living the road life right there.
that's honestly, I mean, that's the dream is to be able to quit my job and just play music. If I can make a living, not get rich or not make $1 billion, if I can just live off of music, that's the
Isn't it funny how that's kind of the thing? Because that's me and Ryan's goal with this podcast. As much as we love doing it, and it's a great passion and side hobby. We want to quit our jobs and be able to do this full time, talk
Oh,
with
yeah.
cool guys, you know. But no, so I feel you, man. That's honestly so cool that y'all are able, and to have that many shows back to back. That just shows you people want you.
Yeah, it was fun. And the good thing about Austin is he did it for 2 years before we started the band.
Just
And-
traveling solo.
Just traveling solo, those acoustic deals. And man, he was grinding. He put a lot of work. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we still had some grinds because a lot of these shows we played are not making money. You know,
Right.
We're making
It's not like
enough.
packed arenas by any means.
Yeah, we're making enough to pay for our gas, maybe. You know,
Well,
and-
shoot, I got a house in Fort Worth, man. If y'all ever need a place to crash, if y'all are
Heck
playing,
yeah.
so
But he was out there for 2 years and he met a bunch of people. You know, he met a bunch of big names, and Austin's a really nice guy, and everyone that meets him likes him. And he's not out there trying to be like, oh, I'm cool, I'm this musician, don't talk to me. You know, he's just like, whatever. He doesn't think it.
Yeah.
I think Austin doesn't give himself enough credit, if I'm being honest, because he's. I think his music is pretty impressive. But because of that, like, he met everyone, and he met a lot of people that now that we have a band, they're like, dude, you got a band now? Yeah, heck yeah, come open for us, stuff like that, you know. And so because of that, we have friends that like I was talking about generations and stuff. We have some people,
Right.
maybe a few generations ahead, that needed an acoustic opener one time, and Austin played and met Austin and liked him, and so they kind of help us get our foot in the door in some places.
Cool, man. Well, let's take it back a little bit, man. Let's get a little bit into more who Hunter is. So you're from Brownwood.
Yep.
You're growing up.
Mhm.
What's when you're in school? Are you thinking I'm gonna be a musician? I know you said you kind of just jumped into the worship music with the bass, but was that kind of always the back of your mind, or were you a sports guy? What was going on?
No, you know, I mean, I grew up around music. I've always loved music. Always.
Yeah, I mean, I can
It
imagine
was
with your dad playing.
yeah, yeah. My dad. Well, I mean, my whole family, all my family on my dad's side would come to town, and we'd just hang out at my grandparents' house. And my uncles, my dad, my grandpa would play bluegrass music, and everyone would sing or hum along or whatever, and just hang out. And it was a good time. And my both my uncles and my dad and my grandpa, they're really all great musicians because um, there's something to be said about being able to pick an instrument up and just be like, okay, I'm playing in this key, follow along, and you just do it. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so I had that like in me naturally. Um, and honestly, dude, like when I was graduating high school and stuff, I thought maybe I would go do graphic design or something. I looked at North Texas for a while, and then I ended up going to Hardin Simmons. I really liked Hardin Simmons a lot, and got into
Tell me what drew you to Hardin Simmons, because I give Ryan a hard time all the time about going out to Abilene, and so not because I just the school's bad. I'm like, what the heck? How'd you get out there? And Hardin Simmons, you know? So what drew you there?
Well, I had some friends out there already that were a year older than me. Um, I liked I liked believe it or not, I did like the camp. The dorms weren't the nicest, but I did like the campus. I liked the smaller classrooms, of course. I had some scholarships and stuff there too. They offered me some scholarships,
Oh, nice.
and it was just a really good fit for me, man. I really liked the Christian based learning there.
Oh, nice.
Um, it just felt like a good fit, and I really enjoyed it. And then turns out, I don't know, as far as the different schools around the university go, I think the business school might have been the most relaxed, and that's what I ended up choosing. I had
Oh, yeah.
economics, and it was just like whatever. Like the professors were so chill in that degree plan too. And
Yeah.
I really
Economics, you
liked my
said?
plan there. Yeah, people talk about writing 10, 15-page papers and stuff. And I'm sure Ryan, did you get a journalism degree?
I mean, it was technically communications mass media, but I like to just say journalism to make it easier.
So yeah, so you two with journalism degrees, I'm sure y'all had to write pretty long papers, right? Stuff like
You know what's funny is me personally, I didn't really I wrote more for like my like core classes like English and
Oh,
history
really?
and stuff like that. My media classes were all kind of Tarleton, for as much as like Tarleton is just out there in the middle of nowhere, Stephenville, and it's big nursing and agricultural school.
great school.
I mean, no, it's a great school. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
But as much as it's known for like agriculture and nursing, it was ahead of the curve when it comes to journalism. Man, they had us working with social media. They had us working all like online articles, kind of just because the newspapers practically gone away. When's the last time you read the Sun? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but when's the last time you read the Sunday paper?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nowadays,
I don't think I get one.
exactly. I don't even know if they make them anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, Dallas Morning News cut like 50% of their stat. Like Tarleton was ahead of the curve, and I was really grateful for that. And it led me into I was a TV producer for 2 years before I moved back to Fort Worth up in Oregon. So it prepared me great. Did you have to write a bunch of papers, Ryan?
I would say the communication equivalent to papers was speeches. So I never really wrote. I don't think I wrote a single paper for communication classes. It was just I had to give a ton of speeches, persuasive, informative, debates, things like that.
Has the Hunter, has the economics degree you got like kind of helped with the band and the revenue and things like that? Is that kind of getting big for y'all? Do y'all have somebody that like works that for y'all?
Not yet. So right now it's pretty much just all us. We do have a manager. Her name's Marissa. She's pretty new too. It's one of those things where if we make it, she makes it. You know what I mean? And so she's like doing as much as she can for us too. But that's about it. We got a guy that comes with us. His name's Clay. We call him a tour manager. He comes and helps us make sure our merch and stuff is set up. But besides them, he also helps with like getting the instruments, making sure they're ready to go too before we get on. But
Kind of
besides them
stagehand
two,
help.
yeah, a little bit. Besides them two, though, it's just us four: me, Austin,
Nice.
Rick, and Matt. And so everything, yeah, we do on our own. So the economics has helped a lot. It's not like an accounting degree where it's like, oh, this is directly applicable to this.
Yeah.
You know what
You're
I
like,
mean?
I got spreadsheets for all of this.
Yeah, it just kind of helps you think about things in a way of usefulness versus what's useful and what's not useful. How are you going to make a profit out of this? intangible with like profit of intangible things and profit with tangible things. So like an example of that would be like an intangible would be opening for a guy like Cody West who has like 400,000, 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. You
Man.
know, that show's going to be a big show. There's going to be a lot of people there and they're all going to hear us.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's like, you know what? If we're getting paid, if we can make it where we're getting paid enough to get there for free, you know, we may not be making a profit money, but the spike we're going to have in listeners, the people hear us, then that's going to be a profit.
Yeah, that's that profit you don't see, man. I've been to numerous concerts, whether it be rap, country, rock, and there's never been a time where I haven't, whether there's one opener or two openers, where I've at least gone, man, like, oh, I got to check out their music, and like I'll note it in my phone before the main act comes on, and I'll go check them out after. So that opener, man, that's like you said, that's just that profit you're not going to necessarily see in hand right off the bat.
Yep.
But that's going to raise you. I wanted to ask, you're working with 3 other guys. Do y'all get along? Is there any kind of ever any strife? Y'all all bros, or how's it go?
So me and Matt, I mean, we've been boys since like freshman year. He's a couple grades younger than me. So I was in freshman, he was like 7th grade, I guess. And we kind of just grew up together. Our dads played music together too. His dad's a musician as well. So me and Matt have been bros for a long time. Me and him are real close. It's to the point where we can just, if you looked at it from the outside, you'd be like, man, he's kind of being a douche to him, you know, like real blunt with each other, just tell each other how it is.
Oh yeah, but he knows how to take it though.
Exactly. He knows where I'm coming from, and I know where he's coming from when he treats me like that. And then Austin and Reed have known each other for not as long as me and Matt, but they have known each other a couple years now, I think, just from hanging out, playing acoustic shows together. I know they made a few long runs, playing a few shows all in a row together, out to like I think Tennessee once or something. They did that a couple times together, and so it was like 2 pairs. Right. And what's kind of funny is you have these 2 guys who hang out in bars all the time, you know, and
which 2 is that?
That's Austin and Reed. And then you have me and Matt who grew up in church.
Oh, okay.
And so it was the first time I met Austin. Austin's like, hey man, I know you're a Christian and all this stuff, but like, is this going to be weird for you hanging out with us in bars and stuff like that and all the drinking and all that stuff? And I'm just like, man, no, like I'm not going to, he had some experiences with some people who call themselves Christians, but I think they just like to judge some people, you know?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
And Matt's the same way. And so because of that, we all 4 get along great. We have a good time every time we go anywhere.
That's good that you're able to recognize, like, okay, we might not have the same mentality in some things, but we can coexist and still be friends. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? That's all it's about.
I mean, Austin and Reed have become some of my best friends. They're some of my closest friends. And you hear other musicians too, especially like touring musicians, talk about this, and I imagine they feel it on a deeper level. They talk about going on the road for 150, 160 days out of a year and spending those 150, 60 days on a bus with the same guys all year, you know? And even I can feel that, and we don't tour near as much yet, you know?
Do y'all stay in touch pretty regularly? Like, do y'all text, like have a group text y'all talk about every day? Y'all send memes, or like, is it just kind of when business needs to be done?
No, it sometimes there's phases. Sometimes it's a lot of business talk in the group text, you know, about whatever. And then sometimes it's all just joking for like a month straight. And it's like, hey, we're going to rehearse tomorrow at 7. Sound good? And they're like, yeah, great. And then we just keep going with whatever else. So it's,
nice.
It's fun.
That's cool.
Piggybacking off that, and it kind of reminded me when we were kind of DMing back and forth to get this scheduled. Is it difficult to kind of all be on the same schedule for things? Obviously, rehearsal's probably set. But like when we were talking, like, yeah, I can do it. Who knows what Austin's up to? One guy can move in. Maybe the guitarist can join. I can just imagine that being hard because for me and Ant on the podcast, there's 2 of us. And sometimes it gets difficult to schedule a day. So outside of, I guess, rehearsal and shows, like, is it hard to schedule? And
well, for Ryan, it's hard to schedule a day. For me, I'm pretty unemployed at the moment. So,
well, let's see. Reed just moved out to Nacogdoches for going to SFA out there.
Oh, dang. Okay, cool. We got a friend of ours. His sister's going right now.
Oh yeah, small world. But so he's committed enough though, where it's like, okay, we need to rehearse. We have a show coming up. He'll drive in because his family's from around the Burleson area, which is just 30 minutes down the road from Austin in Godley. Austin's in Godley. And Matt was living up in Hearst. He went to DBU and then graduated and got married, and he's been out there for a while, and he just moved back to Brownwood like 3 weeks ago. So now me and Matt are in the same town. As far as the difficulty goes, finding a day, man, I think we're all just committed enough that we just make it work. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
our hope is eventually we don't have to worry about any of the other things that are keeping us in the towns we are, you know, or we don't have to worry about work or other commitments because music will be our full-time thing. So it's like, hey, we got to go over here for rehearsal. It's no big deal because that's the only thing I have planned that day. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to do all this other stuff. So we're still in the grind mode, I guess, because it's still sometimes I'm traveling 2 hours to Godley to rehearse sometimes.
Man, have y'all ever thought of congregating in one city, all moving to one place or anything like that? Or
Yeah.
not that far along?
There's been a little bit of talk from Austin and Reed. Reed, I think, is going to transfer he's thinking about Tarleton, actually. He's thinking about transferring.
It's a good school.
Yeah, it is a great school. He likes Stephenville a lot. And Austin has mentioned maybe Stephenville eventually. And I've even thought Stephenville or Fort Worth eventually too. But I mean, if half of us are in Stephenville and half of us are in Brownwood, it's whatever. That's just right down the road.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. I mean, versus one person being in Nacogdoches, one person being in Hearst, that's nothing.
Yeah. And so we were just making that work. And then when it came to shows, it's like, if we have a show, especially now, we're going to make that show. You know?
No doubt.
The only thing stopping us from shows might be like, hey, I'm in a wedding from my friend that I've had since kindergarten. Like, I can't miss that, you know?
Oh, no, I feel you. I lived up in Oregon for the past couple years. And for people that don't realize, like some of my buddies up in Oregon listening, in Texas, like when we say, oh, we got to go somewhere, that's probably a 30 to 45-minute drive.
Stephenville, Brownwood's an hour away. And
yeah, but you say it as if it's close.
It is.
Yeah.
It is close.
Exactly. But you got to see, for me, when I moved up there, man, I was living in Eugene, right where the University of Oregon is.
Yeah.
Go Ducks, right? And freaking everything's maybe long is 20 minutes. Like, man, I got to go to the other side of town. That's 20 minutes.
Long?
No, exactly, bro. I'm looking at people like, are you crazy? Like, I haven't had to fill up my tank in 3 weeks. Like, what's going on? You know? But I come move back here, and me and Ryan are, like he just said, we're close. We live right down the street, but right down the street's a 30-minute drive.
Bro, when we first started, we were meeting in Godley, 2 hours away, and I didn't know anyone in between yet. I made some friends now in Granbury, and I got a place to stay in Stephenville, which is exactly halfway. But at the time, it was the end of November, right after Thanksgiving of 2018. We had our first show. Austin says, like, hey guys, we got a show. And we hadn't had a rehearsal yet. And it was a month away in January. So it's like, okay, it's go time. So we were having 2 rehearsals at least a week. And I was driving 2 hours, and it was going to be a 4 or 5 hour rehearsal. And then I drive 2 hours back. I was getting home at like 2:30 in the morning.
Dang.
But
I bet you'd do that drive again, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, dude. It was so fun. And that 2 hours now, that drive to Godley, 2 hours feels like it's just down the road. It's straight 377 the whole way. It's easy peasy.
Heck yeah, man. What was that? Take me through that first show. Because obviously you'd been on stage, you know, not necessarily maybe a stage, but doing worship music.
Yeah.
You'd been in front of people. How was that first show with Austin Upchurch? Were you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. We were playing with a guy named Cameron Hobbs. And his 2 guitarists at the time, they don't play with him anymore. They got offers. I don't know if y'all know who Dylan Wheeler is. This guitar player named Kyle Maston. He's with Dylan. Dylan's a little bigger than us. He's doing really well for himself. Kyle's now with him. And then another guy named Dylan McConnell. He's with a guy named Tristan Mares. Those 2 guys had quite a bit of experience, and they were there, and I was just asking them questions, and I was like, heart was thumping, you know, and I was like,
yeah,
like, what's this like? Because it was our first show ever, right? And it was way different. Playing at church, people will notice you, but everyone there is like, man, music sounded great. And I was like, no, I messed up like
like they can't help but be nice about it. They're just like, man, I loved it. Like,
I was like, that was the worst I'd played ever. But I knew that first show, I was like, God, if I mess up, they're gonna know. Like they're gonna know I messed up, you know. And Austin too had been told by a bunch of people that were like, hey, dude, you need to start a band. Like the people that he trusts and like that give him advice and stuff. They're like, whatever you do, just don't suck on your first show. Just
For sure.
just do well on your first show. You can suck the next month and a half, but the first show's got to be good. And I was like, freak, man, that's a lot of pressure.
You're like, oh, thanks. I'm already sweating through my shirts. I don't need this added pressure of that's crazy.
So we played though at this little bar over off of West 7th in Fort Worth called Lola's. And in a little room, it held like 350 maybe. And it was packed, which was cool. It was sold out.
Right.
Lamb full, everyone's shoulder to shoulder. Because I mean, it was Austin's first full band show, and he had made a lot of friends along the way, and I had a lot of friends and family. Like we all had a bunch of friends and family there. I guess enough to pack it out. I don't know if there's anyone there that didn't know us really well or was related to us. But
that's awesome,
dude. The adrenaline rush, that hour went by. It felt like 5 minutes.
Oh, I bet it was like a blink.
I had never had an adrenaline rush like that, and it was just, sheesh, man, it was awesome. And it went really well. Luckily, it went really well, but I think it had to do with our 2 rehearsals a week, doing nothing but rehearsing that music for like a month before.
So, when it comes to before shows, are you a what's it called in baseball? What's it called? Like you have the same routine. What am I trying to say? Are you superstitious? Are you superstitious at all? You got any routines before your shows or before a studio session or anything like that?
I mean, nothing crazy. I just always have, I play with a pick, which most bass players don't. I have a few songs I play with my fingers, but I always have one pick on my amp, one pick under the pick guard, one pick in my hand. I always have like just my stuff set up like exactly the same way every single time. Other than that, I don't know that I have any crazy routines. I don't know if anyone does. We kind of just, I mean, I think we kind of like it. It's pretty laid back. If you watch us compared to most other bands, I think we're pretty laid back. It's just we get up there, we sound check, we make sure all that stuff's good, and we just go hang out in the van or something.
No, man, I mean, that's how we are with this podcast. Like, we were talking a little bit before we started recording, and it's just, hey, let's make sure all our mics sound good, make sure there's no reverb and crazy feedback, and hey, let's hit click, let's record.
Yep, I mean, that's how it is. We just kind of show up and do whatever, and we hang out and we jam, and then jamming or playing music or whatever, our set is just, that's a blast. I always just try to go as hard as possible too, because I learned at first I used to just stand up there and I just play and sing, and try to focus on not messing up. Then I started realizing if I make a little mistake, by this point we've been playing the music long enough where if I make a mistake, it's probably not going to be a big one. It's going to be a little one, because so much of it is muscle memory by now. So I just make sure I go as hard as I can and have fun, and it seems like people kind of notice that when you're having fun and you're really giving it
definitely
all, people can tell. I used to be real shy about that. We all used to be real shy, but now it's just like, here we are, like it or leave it, but it's been fun.
No, that's kind of the same thing with podcasting. It's just like if we're sitting here, if it sounds like we're trying to talk because we're forcing a conversation, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna want to listen. But if it sounds just like a couple guys hanging out having a chat, then that's what draws people in, and that's what we're trying to do here. What have you been doing during the pandemic, man? How you been keeping yourself busy? You movie guy, video game guy?
Man, the last few weeks I've been really busy. Been getting busy because I'm still involved with the church I grew up in. I help with the youth band and stuff. But besides that, I just work. I come home. I do whatever needs to be done around the house. And then I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone.
Oh, dude. Yes, sir.
Me and my crew from college, we play like every night. Every single
PlayStation or Xbox?
Dude, I actually, the reason I told you I don't have a webcam is because I built a PC for it.
Ooh, PC player.
Yeah. And dang, so I still play with a controller. It's an Xbox controller.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you didn't have to flex on us that hard, bro.
I did. I mean, it's whatever. I
just built my own gaming system. No big deal.
Honestly, dude, if you're doing this kind of stuff and you understand a little bit of electronics, doing like podcast, you can do it. It's so easy. It literally just feels like adult Legos with a little bit higher risk. not
What's
hard.
what's your go-to class? What's your class setup on Warzone?
So I've been, I know it's the old meta, but I've been running Growl and well, actually, I guess it wasn't the meta fully. Growl at MP5 at first. Now I'm doing Growl HDR.
Okay.
Growl still melts, dude. It's still,
Dude, I was an MP5 guy. I had the gold MP5 with the
yeah,
night
it's still
vision.
good too.
Yeah. I mean, you can't once a gun is good. I mean, unless they nerf it like crazy, but
They even technically nerfed those guns too, but they're still good. I was actually playing. I was like just killing time sitting up here. I was playing some solos today,
yeah.
and I every time I got my class, I would die. So I just quit
Oh,
getting my
that's
class,
the
and I kept
worst.
on finding LMGs, and I know that's the new meta, so I might be giving that a go because I did pick up a Bruin, and I was melt. I think I got like right before we got on here. I had just finished a game. I had gotten killed. I was, I just like landed back in, and there was like 15 people left, and I was trying to hide in a bush because I had no ammo. So I was
Oh
like, I gotta
man.
save this right. But I had like 8 kills, and I think I got seventh. But I had jumped in a bush, and then all of a sudden I just got shot. The guy was hiding in the bush that I jumped in.
That is hilarious. That's hilarious. The
But
first time I ever started playing Warzone, I was like we were playing like duos or squads or something, me and
mhm.
Ryan and a couple friends of ours, and everybody had to bounce, but I was still playing, so I was like the last one left, and it's getting down to like the last like 20 people, so I'm like, I'm gonna go hide in this bush. Same exact thing. I'm out in the outskirts of this map trying to be kind of a little camper, not gonna lie,
Yeah.
and there's a guy hiding in there already and just murks me, and I
Yep.
was like, and I even tried to land back on him because like I won in Gulag, and I even tried
Uh-huh.
to land back on him, and he still just murdered me right out of
It's
the
the
sky.
worst.
It's
Sometimes
the worst.
we're always just, man, I hate this game. Why do we play this game? And
I don't know how you played it before this podcast. I'd be too angry to have a conversation.
bro, if I would have got on like 2 or 3 minutes before, I was like, solos, dude. It's a horror game. It's
Oh,
literally, you could turn a corner any second. Someone's just gonna melt you, like right there.
oh, I bet.
My adrenaline, like my heartbeat was going. I had so much adrenaline from that game because I was like, man, I got a shot to win this game. And,
Oh, when it gets to that last circle and that gas is rolling in, I mean,
mhm.
dude, my heart is like I get jittery. Like when after a
Yeah,
game's over, it's a different kind of feel. Like I get why esports is so huge. I kind of wish it would have been a thing like when we were growing up because I
yeah,
used to
for real.
me and Ryan talk about it all the time. I don't know if you feel this way. I used to like we used to like KD ratio close to a 3. Like I'm talking Modern Warfare 2 days. Like
Dang,
dude,
three's
we
good.
murked. No, we murked, but we were like, oh, we're gonna keep playing, like, cause your older siblings or your parents, they start sucking when
Yep.
you're like, oh, it's an old person thing. Like old people just aren't good at video games. But now, I mean, I'm only 25, but I feel like I'm that old person that sucks at video games
Yep.
compared to these kids.
I play with my cousins and stuff, and my little cousins, dude, they just wreck me all the time. And I feel like I'm kind of decent at the game, you know?
No, yeah, I mean, I'm not garbage, but I'm not a 3 KD by any means.
Yeah, same. But yeah, dude, esports growing up, if that would have been a thing, I think I probably would have gotten hardcore into it. I'm not gonna lie. That would have been a.
Oh yeah,
Why don't you
oh
start
yeah.
streaming, dude?
Well, we've talked about it. I mean, why like you obviously it'd just be fun to do it in general. And
Yeah.
if anything came of it, I mean, we've thought about it. We talked. Why don't do you stream?
I mean, I've messed around with it a little bit, but I mean, you coming from a TV producing background, it's definitely like you can make your stream. It's so easy. You use some Streamlabs, you can get some free stuff, set up your scenes, and make it. It feels like you're running a show a little bit.
Oh shoot,
Except when the show, the entertainment is supposed to entertain the audience, it's you playing the game.
Ryan, who's that guy you listen to all the time?
Doctor Disrespect.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
just
You know
came
who that
back.
is?
Yeah, he came back this week. That's a full.
He came back this week and topped out at 517,000 viewers at one time.
That's amazing.
Oh,
You
that's
should see,
insane. I was one of them.
I love the way he did it. I love the way he did it too. He came on. So like, you know about it, Ant? I know.
Yeah,
Ryan
I
obviously
know
knows
of
about
it from
You know how
Ryan.
he like got banned from Twitch all of a sudden and all this stuff.
Yeah, Ryan was explaining it to me. He just like all of a sudden just went dark and
Gone
didn't know what happened.
for like was I think it was a month and a half,
Which
somewhere
a
in
month
there.
on the internet is an eternity.
Oh yeah,
2 days to be exact.
there you go. 42 days. He gets on randomly without telling anyone anything, and it's like just this scene he has of like this artwork, and he's just playing this music, right?
Oh,
And he
dude.
leaves it up for 24 hours. That's how he does. He
Oh
doesn't
my
say a
God.
word. It's just playing this thing for 24.
So he's not even on the
He
screen.
wasn't even on the screen, and then the
Wow.
next day, right at 24 hours, he gets on and streams. and he has
knows
this
what he's
whole
doing. He knows what
intro.
he's doing.
Oh yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, have you seen this new game he's playing, Dr. Disrespect? It's called Fall Guys. Have you seen that?
No, I keep seeing tweets about it. I haven't seen it yet though.
So I come over here. I'm over at Ryan's place so we can set up to do this podcast. And Ryan's got Fall Guys on the TV screen. And it's just this like weird Gumby Mario Party-esque game where your character is just this little like, I don't even know how to talk. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like this little like rubbery looking.
It's like really bright colors, right? Pink.
Yeah, it's like a very colorful
I know you're talking
Play-Doh
about.
version. It's like a Play-Doh version of Little Big Planet is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
And so it's like you and 60 other players drop in, and it's like obstacle courses and little games. And if you make it like to round 5, and you like can try and win. It's like a Warzone, but with Mario Party mixed in. It's really crazy.
Is it really that like interesting?
I mean, see, that's the thing. It gets very repetitive if you play it a lot in one sitting, because the games are randomized, but they start repeating themselves. And it's fun. Like me and Ryan probably just played for about 2 hours before we hopped on here, and in between, passing his newborn baby around. Shout out Rhett. But it's like it gets you because us as like adult competitive guys that grew up playing Call of Duty want to
Want to
win.
win so bad.
Oh my god!
You'd
And you're just
rather-
sitting there.
Oh my
You're
god.
just sitting there like, this kiddie game is beating me. Like, how is this happening?
I have to beat this. Yes. The saying you hate losing more than you like winning, right?
Oh, for sure.
I feel
dude.
that. I feel that to a T.
Ryan's showing me this Dr. Disrespect thing. Does he do this? So this graphic is that y'all were talking about. He left up. It's like a skyline with his logo, a Lambo, a little
Gas station.
station. Does he do all that himself?
He himself doesn't. He has a production team, but all of his stuff is like insane.
Dude, it's a
Oh,
show.
wow.
Everyone knows him as like, he may not be the best gamer of everybody. I mean, he's good and he holds his own. He's just kind of older. He's in his 40s compared to all the youngins. But
Does-
like, he's the best production quality.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
out there.
He has a
Does
whole
anybody
persona.
watch Ninja still? Is he still the guy? I feel like he's the guy. Like he was the like.
He went to Mixer and everyone like fell off, but he got paid. He got
Mixer got
paid.
bought out by Facebook,
Yep.
Ooh.
and he got to buy out of his contract, and he's like still up in the
I heard he
air.
just went to Twitch like today. I think he went back to Twitch today.
We're going hard on the
But-
streaming.
but
I
his-
like it.
His deal was, he was big Fortnite, like the Fortnite guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just in general, Fortnite's a little bit dying.
Yeah.
Not that it's, a bad game, but just it's been out for so long. And, he like changed his whole scene to be kid friendly. And I think he's trying to go away from that. He's kind of back to just full blown doing his thing, which kind of put him a little not as much in the spotlight as typical.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll make a comeback though with
I
him
mean, the
coming
dude's
back to
rich as
Twitch.
crap.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's loaded. That contract,
Loaded.
the contract for Mixer is huge, millions. And
Dang. I mean, dude, maybe we should hop into streaming, dude.
That's what I'm saying. When Rhett's old enough, like after school, it's video game practice.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
That's another
It's
thing
like-
too, though. I saw some YouTube stuff. I forgot who the guy was, and he was coaching Call of Duty, and he had been hired. People have paid him to coach Call of Duty teams.
How do you even coach? I mean, I guess like, hey, don't go down that alley. Like, go more this. Like, use this gun.
I watched this video, and it was useful stuff. It's like, yo, you're going to turn this corner, and you've been here a billion times, and you know there's a window up there. So while you're turning the corner, why don't you start aiming at the window or aiming up to the window? Because there's probably going to be someone there. And I was like, okay, that's so simple, but I have not thought about that on my own.
Yeah, so simple yet so
I think I'm going to
overlooked.
run behind this wall real quick. It's like, just aim there already. Stuff like that.
Dang, that's crazy, dude. That's so crazy, that video game. And people used to think like video games were the end of the world, like end of kids. How crazy is that?
I think it builds your mind, to be honest. I think it works your brain.
Oh, no doubt. There's like skill, there's puzzle. Like, it makes you think, especially for.
Think
What
about
is
think about Warzone. Warzone, you got the hand eye obviously, but like when you get into a situation with you got 4 guys on your team, you're one of 4, and then you're gonna fight 4 guys, and you start have to do like process
Game
of
planning.
elimination, game planning, but then also like, okay, should I go here? Should I go here? Should I go here? Why should I not go to one of these, or why should I pull out and not even fight this? And it sounds
Yeah.
so stupid that we're talking about a video game like it's this big deal, but it
Right.
makes your brain, because like you think about algebra. Algebra is the same idea as like if this plus this equals that, then okay, then this thing that I'm trying to figure out in the middle of the equation must equal this. It's the same thing. You use that same type of logic when you're playing a video game. You're like, if I go here and it normally ends this way, then maybe the answer is don't go there.
Well,
Let's go
that's
around
why
the way.
that's why I like watching streamers, because a lot of them talk through what they're doing.
Yep.
And it's just like, let's flank this way. I never even thought about the word rotate. You know, with battle royale games, it's like rotate this way, just because until I see streamers who do it.
It's
no,
smart.
whenever I hadn't played for a long time, and because when I got into college, I used to love playing like Call of Duty and Battlefield and other first-person shooters. But when I got to college, I kind of fell off of gaming. I didn't even have a PlayStation for like 3 of my 4 years in college. I mean, maybe 2 and 2. But anyways, I ended up getting back into it once I graduated and had a job and a little bit more free time. And Ryan would be using terms. I'm like, dude, are we in the military? Like, what? He's like, watch your 6. I'm like, okay, calm down, SEAL team. You know what I mean? Like, but then you catch yourself using it. You're like, all right, hey, I'm flanking left. I'm flanking left.
It's like you said with a month being an eternity on the internet, dude. The stuff you hear, if you just like, so like I watch streamers too every so often on my like second screen at work. It's a real good use of my workspace. You know, one whole screen for streaming. But when I watch streamers too, they use this stuff. If I don't watch them for a few weeks, they'll be already talking about something completely new, and I'll be lost. I'll have to give it a couple days to figure out what they're talking about.
That's kind of how I feel with music too, though, man.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, you know, there's more free time for people to dive into music, but I feel like I can't keep up with artists. I feel like I used to always know the new thing that was out.
Yep,
I used to pride myself on, I used to pride myself on being, hey man, check out this new artist or check out this new song. Have you heard this? Like I liked being that guy that my friends could rely on. Like if we're at a little, you know, we're having a hangout, give Anthony the aux, you know?
Yeah.
So, but now I feel like there's artists out, and I'm just my like nieces and nephews are listening to people that I've never heard of, and I'm just like, what the?
Well, the thing about it is too, with like the invention of like Spotify. So like iTunes, you always have to buy if you wanted to hear it, you had to buy it, right? But now with Spotify, you can have a free account, and well, maybe the free account doesn't get it, but you get like those daily mixes and Discover Weeklies and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you get to hear all these random people you would never hear of. Or if you like you create your playlist, at the bottom of it, it's like based on what you have in this playlist, you might like this and this and this and this, you know? And
no, very
so
very
it makes
fair
it
point.
super easy to hear stuff, along with it being incredibly easy just to get your own thing on Spotify. And so
that's how it is with podcasts too. I mean, we pay to have ours up on, you know, Apple Music, Spotify, and everything, but so
It's
do
easy, though,
thousands
isn't it?
of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we pride ourselves on trying to be quality and having good mics and good headphones, good stereo setup. But
Absolutely.
I mean, if I just wanted to talk into my phone and then post that as a podcast, you could.
Yep. Same with YouTube too.
Yeah, definitely.
There's
same
probably
with
some
YouTube.
people out there too on YouTube that no one knows they exist, but they're probably making really high quality stuff because they just enjoy it.
Ryan showed me this one random YouTuber. He's got millions of subscribers. Can't remember his name, but he's got millions of subscribers. All he does is Pokemon cards. He buys Pokemon cards and like shows them off, and he's like, "Ooh, I got a holographic Charizard today. I'm gonna, you know, like," and he has millions of views. And it's just this whole world of Pokemon cards, and like baseball cards is another one, and it's just this whole world that you would never think of, and people are like famous in that world. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's stuff like that that makes me think I can eventually quit my job to play music.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
I know my music is not super niche, you know?
Oh,
like
no.
it can, I feel like our sound can reach a lot of different people, and a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
Well, and that makes me think, do you ever think about this when it comes to you there's so many niche little aspects of the internet to get famous and make money off of. Do you ever wonder if like their trade jobs, like there's going to never be any more welders or like I always think like what is going to happen if everybody becomes YouTubers? I mean, obviously that's not realistic, but
I don't know. Sometimes I do think about that, but I also think, I mean, stuff like that, I don't think it's ever going to go away. Because people also, because here's the thing. Everyone might become YouTubers, but there's also a welding YouTube.
yes.
There's a carpentry YouTube.
Yes,
You know,
good point.
you're just going to start having people live streaming them cleaning windows on a
Yeah.
skyscraper, right?
I guarantee you there's a ASMR
There's got to be
of
someone.
people like squeegeeing windows. I guarantee, because I'm not gonna lie, I got into this weird. I've been listening to ASMR since back in the day. I'll admit it. I'm man enough to admit it. And freaking, I got into a weird niche of shoe shining and haircuts. I don't know what it is, but haircuts,
ASMR?
man. Yes, it's just like like haircuts, and I fall asleep seamlessly every time.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds weird. People are kind of gross. Some people are like freaked out by it. It's like people that hate hearing people chew food. And
There's something for everything though. Like you can
there
search.
is.
People. A lot of people forget that Google exists sometimes. The last question I wonder this, I'm like, have you searched on the internet? You
Yeah.
can really type out this long, super specific question onto Google and it'll answer it. But YouTube is almost to the point where you could type that question and a video related to that probably answers your question also comes up.
No doubt. I guarantee anything you Google search or YouTube search, you're not the first person to do so.
Absolutely.
To search that exact verbatim, whatever you typed in.
It's weird, man. It's crazy. Like me and our drummer, Matt, me and him started restoring a 1984 Bass Tracker, a boat.
Oh.
And we were like, dude, how are we going to like, we've never restored a boat before. Well, that might not
Yeah.
be obvious, but we've never done it.
Yeah. Some people are listening are like, you kidding me? I thought all this guy did was fish.
No, but anyway, because of that though, we were like kind of looking through and there's like a billion videos, the exact year and same model of Bass Tracker.
That's amazing.
And they've got it in the same condition that we got ours and like
And I bet it
restored
has thousands of views, don't it?
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
it?
Yep. And all
So
these people commented and be like, huh, on mine I did this and all this stuff. I'm just like
Yep.
I'm like, okay, great. I thought I was gonna be screwed trying to figure all this stuff out, but I can just go to the internet and it's all right there.
Dude, I did the same thing the other day. I was working on my sister's yard for her, and I was using this random super old ass weed eater she had, and I didn't know how to start it because I was just like there was the choke, and I was just like, what the hell am I doing with this? Like YouTube exact model year of this freaking weed whacker, and it had like 2,000 views. I was like,
Yep.
so 2,000 people have been like, man, how do you start this weed whacker? Like, that's so random.
And then after that video, they're like, oh, now I know how to start the weed whacker.
Yep.
How many of
No
those
doubt.
people you think went and made their own video? So I saw on YouTube this guy showed me
Yeah.
how to do this. This is how you do
Yeah.
it.
They're like, mine's a little different. Let me show you. You got to yank it twice. You know, you got to hold it at a 90-degree angle. But what's this? So are you a big time fisher? You're restoring a boat. I got to imagine, huh?
Man, I used to fish a lot before college, and then I came to college, and a lot of my friends up there, I didn't have any like close friends that like to fish a lot, so I kind of just got out of it. And Matt is my bro that fishes a lot. So
Okay.
like when I moved back from college, he was still here for like a year. He like took a break in one part of his college experience, and every morning, dude, he would go out on at sunrise in his kayak and start
Dang.
fishing. Like he loves it, and so I'm like, you know what, I got to get back into that. So his dad had this old bass boat that had been sitting for like 14, 15 years, and we're at the point we've gutted it, and we got to get the engine off and start working on the engine, and then make sure all the aluminum's good to go. But
So are you a car guy too?
I enjoy cars. I haven't really done a lot of work on them. I grew up around. My dad has a '67 Chevy truck that he built the engine for and did a lot of work on. So I feel like
Sounds
I know
nice.
a fair amount, dude. It's got a 400 short in it. It's running about 450 horsepower. With that light back end too, dude. It just
Dude,
you
I
go
don't know
60
much
down the road and
I don't
floor
know
it.
much about cars. I mean, I can talk a little bit cars. I
Uh-huh.
can change a tire and check my oil, and
Yeah.
that's really about it when it comes to what I can do with it. But I appreciate when someone really knows what they're talking about, or like your dad can rebuild an engine. That is
Yeah.
insane to me.
It
I
was
could
pretty
watch a
cool.
million YouTube videos a day and never figure it out.
The idea of an engine, the same thing. The idea of an engine is crazy to me too. Just the
Oh, yeah.
idea, like there's multiple, like all these very like violent explosions going on in this contained thing,
Yeah.
thousands of them in like a second or whatever.
Right. Well, that's like the other day I was driving down the highway and I was looking at my RPMs, and I have a Kia Sportage, so it's I mean it's no. Now granted, it does have off-road tires and aftermarket rims on it, so I call it the Black Panther. I've had it for a while, but it's the only Kia with rims you'll ever see. But anyways, I was looking at my RPMs and I was just thinking like, wow, 4,000 of those are happening at this exact second. Like that's insane.
You need to look up. I saw super random. I don't know how I just stumbled upon this. It was a guy. He had an engine and he had a drill hooked up to it, but he had the tops off where you could see the pistons moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had it at 500, and I couldn't even like count one piston how many times it came up. Like it was moving
Yeah.
that fast, and that was only at 500 when we cruised at like 3,000. I don't know. the idea of what's happening in my car and what had to happen for my truck to go down the road and cruise at 80 miles an hour is just
Oh yeah.
mind-boggling.
And that's why I appreciate like a mechanic so much. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's back to me thinking about like, is anyone ever gonna just be a mechanic anymore with YouTube? But like you said, they will. But I appreciate that so much. People that can just work with their hands. And
Absolutely.
part of me always wishes I kind of would have went down that road of like, I know, like I wish I could just, like, especially when it comes to chicks, and they're like, my boyfriend built me this, this new armoire, and I can do my makeup, and I'm just like, damn, I hope my girlfriend does not expect that because she doesn't exist right now. I don't have a girlfriend, but like that is not happening from your boy, so don't expect it from me.
Yeah, but here's what we just talked about. There's probably a video showing you exactly how to build one, exactly how she likes it.
Well, now you're putting pressure on me, Hunter. Now my fake imaginary girlfriend's gonna be expecting an armoire, hand built, handcrafted.
You got it, dude. I have faith in you. You can do it for
appreciate
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So what else been keeping you busy? Rebuilding this boat and
The boat, and it honestly, it's just been games, video games, and then work. I do a little like, so I'm a graphic designer for my dad.
Nice.
He owns a t-shirt shop, and
yeah.
I
Do you
do
do you
that.
do the merch for Austin Upchurch?
yeah, so all the merch and the website, and then like pretty much all of our socials, our website, the way our Spotify looks, even that was all me.
Oh, dude, it's all laid out really well.
I-
It looks great.
Appreciate that. It was a lot of work. So in my free time, I do some stuff like that. I'll make some ads. I made our logo and stuff. It's pretty simple, but I think it looks clean.
No, it's it's very sharp, very very like you said, simple, but catches your eye. We're looking at your website right now, man. This trucker hat with the camo Austin Upchurch patch, that is nice.
Yeah, dude, that was my idea. So
I'm a
me,
fan of
you and
trucker
Austin
hats.
and our manager worked together on all the merch. You need to check out the Bummer Summer shirt, bro.
Bummer summer shirt.
So we called it. This was our Bummer Summer. It has a tour on the back. Every date just says canceled by it.
That's
The Bummer
hilarious.
Summer World Tour.
That's hilarious.
No, but the free time, I do some freelance stuff. People hit me up on Instagram maybe a little, or I just have some friends that are like, hey, I need a logo designed.
Yeah.
And so I do that a little bit too, and so that
That's
takes up
good.
a little bit of free time. And then church
Brought to you. That Bummer summer shirt says
brought to you by coronavirus. Yeah,
That is nice.
we're
Nice
pretty
touch.
proud of that one. We think it's pretty funny, but
No, that's awesome.
yeah, and church is taking up my time a lot too, though, because I play on Sunday mornings, so that's a rehearsal on Wednesday night. After also helping the youth band, a bunch of high schoolers who are not super well versed on how to play together in a band, and what that means. Because you can learn your instrument and you can be good at your instrument, but playing with people is just different.
Oh, for sure. You
So-
got to all find that cohesive.
Yeah, and there's a
coercive,
lot
cohesive,
of the cohesion.
cohesion.
Right.
Thank you.
There's a lot
I'm
of
telling you, I got
maturity.
a degree in journalism. I promise. I'm smart. Man. Sorry,
There's a
go
lot
ahead,
of
though.
maturity that goes into it, though, because you got to know. I mentioned it earlier, like knowing what I play is going to drive the song in a certain direction, right? And so you can overplay, like you can learn all this really cool sounding stuff on your guitar, on your bass,
Yeah.
and it'll just make it. You're like, oh, I want to play all these notes, I want to fit them all in right now, but it's going to make the song sound like trash. But there is a time to play like that, And as high schoolers, they don't always understand that because they haven't logged 10,000 hours or whatever playing their
Right.
instrument. So I get to help out with that. It's a lot of fun getting to see them improve.
Oh no, give it back to your community, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been really rewarding. I've done it for about a year now, and I just kind of try to help them out, teach them what
Yeah.
I've learned, and yeah, it makes for a long Wednesday night. But
It keeps you busy, and I'm sure it keeps you humble having to teach the kids.
oh yeah, because I started thinking about myself.
Yeah.
I was their age in that same room.
Oh, no doubt.
I was like, I must have been terrible.
Oh, no doubt. That's cool,
I've been
man. That's
I've been
really
impressed
cool.
with them though. They've done well. They've done really well.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
No, but I'm looking at your merch site again. This Fort Worth skyline one's drawing my eye. Fort Worth boy here.
Yeah.
I like that one, man. That's really dope.
Man, I hope we have some left. That one's on clearance. We're getting rid of that one.
Oh no,
I
maybe I'll have
know.
to hop on.
It was one of my first designs.
Do y'all have any? Have y'all done any like music video type stuff? I looked at y'all's YouTube. I don't think I saw any.
Yeah, we got we got a lyric video for
Lyric video. I did
single
see that one.
Aurora, and then we have a live playthrough for Rain Coming Down. which actually that song was written by our lead guitar player Reed. That one was one of the few on the album that wasn't written by Austin. But Austin sang it obviously. But that's like a music video for that. But it's a live playthrough in a studio, and then we have an acoustic. It's just all four of us playing and singing on Long and Tooth.
Okay.
Just Austin on guitar, Reed on a guitar, and then me and Matt are singing backup vocals. That's all we got right now, but it's one of those things. We're not playing shows, making any money, so we're really not affording to make any music videos, you know.
No, but I mean, even if something as simple as y'all sitting down playing acoustic, like that's awesome, you know.
Yeah,
That'll draw
it
people's
turned
eye.
out pretty well too. It was a lot of fun to record, you know. Had never done much like that before. So
No.
almost everything I've done so far has been a first time for me. You know,
That's cool. That's
which
cool
has
though.
been
That
a
you're
lot of fun.
getting all that experience.
Yeah, for real. When I joined, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a good college try for like a year and a half, and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, I'm obviously been committed for like 2 years now, and the way it's going, if we can keep the momentum we're going, maybe in another year, 6 months to a year, I can quit my job. You know,
Dang.
which would be sick.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, I mean, hopefully y'all can get back to shows soon, and if y'all come play in Fort Worth, or maybe if y'all are playing in Stephenville. I've been wanting to make a trip down to Stephenville, but now you know they're canceling their or postponing their football season, and homecoming's getting pushed. So I'm just kind of like, and plus I don't even really, I only know a couple people that still live out there because all my friends have graduated at this point.
Yeah.
But man, hopefully y'all get to playing shows again soon. I wanted to ask you, who have you been listening to outside of obviously promoting your own music? Who's you been listening to a lot right now?
So I bounce, dude. I go all over. I listen to a lot of Texas country, obviously. Turnpike Troubadours, Parker Co. There's some smaller
Wetzel,
people. Yeah, Co Wetzel. There's a guy named Garrett Bryan. He's really good. He was part of a band named Callahan Divide, but they're broken up right now, or on hiatus at least. The older band Dolly Shine. They're not really playing anymore. Six Market Boulevard. Just a bunch of old guys like that, or older bands. They're not really old, but
Right.
I listen to them, and then I also get into some like alternative like pop stuff. There's this band called Fickle Friends out of the UK. They play some pretty cool stuff. Their bass player, I saw them like 3 years ago in this tiny little bar in Deep Ellum, and their bass player can rip. And so as a bass player, I listen to their stuff, and I'm just like, yo, that's pretty
Little
sick.
inspiration for you.
Yeah, and there's another band. This is one of my favorite bands, The Night Game. Have y'all heard of The Night Game? The you know the band Boys Like Girls though, right? Right.
Ryan's
Boys Like
shaking his
Girls?
head. Ryan's shaking his head. I don't think.
As a rap guy, you might know them. What's that song they got? I can look it up real quick.
Boys Like Girls. I don't know. I don't think
It's
I
an
have
older. They're older, and I heard they're gonna go on. That song 2 is better than 1.
If they're older, like
They're a little older. Well, their lead singer started his own.
Oh.
He started
I think
his own band.
this would have been like on the old iPod.
Okay, I think I do know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's
though.
the old school stuff. Well, he went off and started his own band, and it's like super like it sounds almost like it's from the '80s, but it definitely
that.
has like the newer feel to it as well. And it's man, they're really good. I saw them open for John Mayer.
Oh, John Mayer. I bet that was awesome.
Oh yeah, dude. Both of and favorite bass player plays for John Mayer. Pino Palladino is his name. They're awesome. And then I listen to, when it comes to like rap and stuff, I listen to Kendrick and J. Cole, which I mean those are
Respect.
just solid.
I mean, yeah, those are like anybody's listening. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's like for me. That's like George Strait. Even if I hated country, being from
Yeah.
Texas, like George Strait, just even if you don't like rap, like Kendrick and J.
Here's the
Cole
thing,
are
though.
transcendent.
people say they listen to Kendrick Lamar, but like they don't listen to Kendrick Lamar. You
Right,
know what
they
I
hear
mean?
him on the radio.
I like
They
to
hear him on
think
the
I
radio.
listen to Kendrick Lamar. Like
No.
I listen to the albums, all of them,
Right.
straight through.
That's- No, that's my thing. See, I respect that you said straight through. I love, and I've said this on the other couple other episodes of this podcast. I love listening when a new album comes out, no matter what genre it is.
Straight through.
listening front back. I love that, man.
In
'Cause I feel like you
order.
really, you really get a feel of what they're trying to do.
I think Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick. I had that on CD, dude, and I used to.
Oh, nice.
I used to like, I would be bored or something. I worked over my Christmas break my freshman year, so I wouldn't know what to do. And Abilene had like a pretty good loop, and I would just go listen to that CD and drive around the outside of Abilene just on.
Golly, that's awesome. Do you ever listen to Sturgill Simpson?
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of him. I know his most recent. I think is his most recent record.
Sound and Fury.
Was I watched him on Joe Rogan, and he talked about it, and it sounded crazy. And there was like an
Yeah.
that goes along with it, and I was like, I have not had the time for that yet. I need to sit down and listen to all.
No, it's
wanna hear it.
trippy. So I listened to that because I'm a huge Sturgill Simpson fan,
He's
and I know
good.
some people. Well, some people don't even like equate him to country. I still, when I think of him, I immediately think country. I don't know. Some people think of him as more rock. This last album, definitely, I could say
Yeah.
is more rock. But he just went bananas on this last one, and like you said, on Netflix, there's a full anime
Yeah.
that is like an hour long. That
It tells
plays
the story
the-
with it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's just so like just out of nowhere. But I mean, his first album, Turtles from the Sky, I can't remember what it's called.
Turtles.
But it's about
It's right here. Where is it at? Turtles All the Way Down was the single.
was like the single, yeah. Well, I mean, that's all about like psychedelics and stuff. You know what I mean? He's a big time.
Yeah, the
he's
cover.
a trippy dude, and so, I mean, was it?
Meta modern
Meta-
sounds
yeah.
and country music. I'm looking at
Meta,
it.
yep, Meta Modern
It
Sounds.
looks
and
like
then-
an old country cover with a galaxy background.
No, and then the next one, A Sailor's Guide to Earth. That's my favorite. Of all of his albums, A Sailor's Guide to Earth. I remember I broke up with my girlfriend in college, and I just blared A Sailor's Guide to Earth, and I was just freaking ripping it in my car. And
That's
I just,
awesome.
Man, I love that album, man. And he even covered Nirvana in that album, In Bloom. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, I haven't listened to that one yet.
I mean, it's it's Sturgill singing it, so it's definitely not Nirvana.
I said it sounds amazing though.
Oh, I love it.
The
I love
Turtles
that.
song, if I remember correctly, there's this theory that everyone has their out there theory about the Earth being flat or whatever. Have you
Or
heard
a
the one about it?
creation.
It's just a ball riding on the back of a turtle, something
Yeah,
like that. I think that's
that's-
what the Turtles All the Way Down is about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something along those lines. Go ahead, click on that, Ryan. It's something about like, let's see, Turtles All the Way Down is a song recorded by Sturgill Simpson. Content: the song lyrics references to Turtles All the Way Down, a lighthearted term for the concept of anavasta. Is that how you'd say that? From Indian philosophy, I'm guessing Native American philosophy, which states that there is no underlying basis or ground for existence. The song lyrics are about, in part, the psychedelic experience as brought on by the drugs including marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, and DMT, which is in that song.
Yeah.
Marijuana, LSD, psilocybin. And references are made to encounters with Jesus, the devil, Buddha, and reptile aliens.
Sheesh, man. What a-
That's I love, like, I mean, I'm not that far out there. I did live in Oregon for 2 years, and there's people that are that far out there on a daily basis. But I just love the concept. I don't know, it's just crazy.
It's crazy. It's entertaining to listen to, and it works. He's got over 1 million monthly listeners.
No, definitely. That new album, man. If you're not a big anime fan, I mean, just listen to the album. But if you're kind of into that kind of crazy, wacky stuff, I mean, I like anime from here and there. I'll check out some stuff. But that Sound and Fury album, it's just a different take, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I had to check it out for sure. Man, that whole thing, the no basis of existence, that's a crazy thought, dude. You think about that ever? Like,
I mean, dude, yes.
I took an
Like,
ethics class in college, and there's this whole idea that we're just orbs of consciousness, and the world around us is just how we're perceiving our run-ins with other orbs of consciousness.
Well, that's like
what?
Like we're zooming right now, right?
Yeah.
So I can see you, I can see myself, I can see Ryan, but there's just the theory of like what you see, like it's that, not necessarily that orbs, but what we're seeing, it like I might see Ryan as Ryan, I'm seeing you, Hunter, as you, but what I see isn't what you see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's weird. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird.
I think there's definitely a degree of that though for everyone.
Yeah.
It might not be as extreme as like the whole idea that like what I see as red, you recognize it as red because you've been taught it's red, but really you're seeing green. It might not
that's
be that
trippy.
extreme, and that might be real. I don't know if there's a way to know that. But like when you think about all of our experiences that we've all three individually had growing up, we have our own biases towards things. We have our own experience that have told us different things probably about this. Like we've probably had very similar experiences, but we've interpreted them differently, and because of that, we do see things differently for sure.
Well, I took a couple philosophy classes in college, and I mean, it doesn't make me able to speak on it, but I mean, I really took them seriously, and the reading was, Plato and Socrates and this deep. I mean, just the language they used was hard to interpret, honestly, but it makes you think, and it's something that you mentioned Joe Rogan earlier, and I mentioned him a lot because I'm a huge fan, but I love when they get into those deep talks of that kind of thing, because even though like you're very Christian. I like to think of myself as Christian. I got a Bible verse tat at least, but I like to think I'm a Christian, and it might not. Those talks might not change my perception of how I would treat somebody or maybe my religious beliefs, but it will just broaden my horizon and make me understand that there are other ways. There are other ways of seeing things.
Yeah. No, yeah, same. I mean, going to a Christian college and taking a philosophy class, you hear about things like that, like the whole idea of we're not actually even people.
Yeah.
And the professor's not saying this is true and this is not and all this stuff. He's saying these are some thoughts these people had.
Exactly.
Like you said, it makes you think, and then you start. I think the greatest thing I learned out of stuff like that and trying to think about stuff like that was that, like you said, there's different ways people look at the same thing very differently as you. And so for me, that teaches me to maybe not expect them to see things the same way I see them, even though we're looking at the same thing. And that takes me to like my favorite Bible verse. I got a Bible verse tattoo also. John 13:34 is the Lord first loved you, and because you're first loved, like this is a paraphrase obviously, because he first loved you, you're to love everyone else, right? Because like he loved you and you don't deserve it. So these other people don't deserve your love either, but you should love them anyway. And so because of that, I think about that. I think about how I take that to heart. Like, okay, I need to love everyone. So then I think about what I learned in a philosophy class that wasn't necessarily based on the Lord or God's teaching or the Bible, but it still led me to that spot of, hey, everyone experiences the same thing differently. So maybe don't come at them when they don't experience it the same way or interpret something the same way you.
Right.
Maybe don't come at them like, hey, what's your problem? Maybe come at them as like, let me understand how you're understanding it. And if there's a problem there, like, let's work together to fix it. And if there's not, great, dude. Like, we'll just keep on going.
Dude, one thing that's kind of, especially with this everything being locked down and quarantined as of late, is watching old sports highlights or maybe even an old concert. That moment of a big one for me, I was over hanging out with my buddy Joe, and we were watching soccer, and he was showing me some old sport highlight, and it was like a game-winning last-second goal. And I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I can appreciate it,
Absolutely.
And so he's showing me this game-winning last-second goal, and the crowd, I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of people, and the crowd just erupts.
Yeah.
And just, I got goosebumps sitting watching it on YouTube. So just that feeling when everybody's in the same place and nobody's saying like, okay, we're about to cheer on 3. Everybody just feels it, and you can feel that. Like, that is what makes me believe in like otherworldly things.
Doing things together, and when you do those things together, it just feels good.
It blows my mind,
dude. You'll appreciate this. Was it 2018, 2017? Darvish had gotten injured near the end of the season before, and he had been working all summer, and he started a week late this season. So it was the second rotation through the pitchers. And so they're at the top of their rotation. It was used first game of the season, but it wasn't the opener. It was when he was our ace. It wasn't the opening game, but it was his first game, and I was there, and he had a perfect game through the 7th.
Ooh.
And so it was like, you could feel it, like the energy.
Oh yeah, you could feel it.
You could feel the crowd is just like, no one's saying anything.
Yeah, nobody wants to make any fast movements. Like,
no one's saying anything. They're just watching, and they know it. And then right when, I think he walked a guy or something. I can't remember exactly what happened. He still had
close a couple.
He
times.
had a no hitter.
Talking about for the Rangers, right?
Right.
Yeah, he
still had his no hitter.
He got close a couple times.
But he still had his no hitter, but he broke his perfect game, and like you could, without anyone saying anything, you could feel the air just leave that stadium.
Yeah,
it was I think it was an error, or what was it? I can't remember what caused it. It wasn't a hit, and he had a no hitter until I think the last or second to last batter of the ninth. Yeah, that game too. It was amazing, and the energy it was just. it almost
dude.
felt like we lost that game.
No, yeah, it's
We won
even
big
though
time.
yeah, even though the game is probably a win, like that's like a what was the that blew that perfect game for that guy, or a no hitter at
Oh, I
least.
remember hearing about that.
You know what I'm
I
talking
don't-
about?
I can't remember who it was.
Oh God, I forgot his name, but he blew the blew like it was like a easy grounder. It was a close play at the bag,
Mhm.
but he blew it. Oh, what was it? We used to always say it like "way to go." Like we would say the ump's name like. Way
I
to
know
go.
I'm gonna recognize the name too.
Ryan's looking it up, but it was I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but like it felt like the game was over. Like they won like the guy had a great game, one hit, but it felt like it was over.
Yeah, I got to see.
Galarga's favorite. That was it, Jim Joyce. Because we'd be like, way to like if we were playing Call of Duty and we'd get killed or something, we'd be like, way to go, Jim Joyce. Like, dude.
I saw.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I saw Cole Hamels throw a no hitter at Wrigley. It was his last
Ooh.
game with the Phillies before he came to the Rangers. And that talk about energy, dude. And hey, that's another thing too. If we're bringing it back to music, when people are into what you're doing, like they're sitting there and they're actually listening, and you can tell they're into it. It makes you play better, and because you can feel their energy in the room with you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
That's
it's awesome. What were you gonna say?
Are you a basketball guy? You've been watching the bubble?
I don't watch a whole lot. I don't know why. I like watching it live. We have a D3 college here in town, and they're not even that great, to be honest. They work pretty hard. Howard Payne is the name of it.
Yeah, Howard Payne. We had
I had a lot of friends that go there. Oh, really? What's his name?
Hayden Ballard.
Hayden Ballard. I know that name.
Yeah, I mean, it was for like a season. I mean, he jumped around a little bit in college trying to find his.
I have a real good friend who pitched there, and he still lives here, and he probably knows him really well. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But like I go to the basketball games there here in town. They're fun, but no, I hadn't really. I always give I have my old roommates from college. None of them are Rockets fans. They are like the Mavs or the Spurs.
Yeah.
So anytime they start talking in our group text about basketball, I always go in. I was like, "Go Rockets!" Just
no, man, come on,
they
man.
get so mad.
MFFL, Mavs fans for life up here, bro.
No, I definitely would pull for the Mavs, but I don't mind seeing. If I'm being honest, I don't mind seeing the Spurs win either. I like Texas teams winning.
It's hard. I would wish I could say that, but I can't.
It's because you're a basketball fan. You're into it,
Yeah,
That's
no, dude,
why.
I got real into it this year, but I mean, we've been talking for about an hour and a half, buddy. We're gonna start to kind of wrap this up. Anything you kind of want to throw out there, break down? Just is still going in. It's 1 month in, right?
Yeah, man. We're 1 month into the album release. It's been a lot of fun seeing a really good reception. I was worried that no one would listen to it.
Yeah.
But that's been good, and we've had some
I'm playing
breakdown
it right now.
There
we go.
It's just been awesome, and I can't wait to play shows now because we haven't played any shows to support it. And so because of the support we've had without shows, it's been overwhelming almost. And so once we get the shows, I think hopefully we can keep this momentum going and keep climbing and get added to some more. We got added to a couple Spotify editorial playlists that helped our streams a lot too.
Oh, nice. I bet that does help a ton.
Oh yeah, it's pretty big time. And so hopefully we can carry the momentum once we get shows, and I can quit my job and just play music for a living, right?
Hell yeah. Well,
See what happens.
William Hunter Carrier, Austin Upchurch Band. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for checking out this episode. Make sure you follow us on social media, Ants Atmosphere, Instagram, Twitter. Also, check out our other podcast, the Cinema Roll Podcast. Find that everywhere you listen to your podcast, iTunes, Spotify. Check out Cinema Roll on Instagram and Twitter as well. If you know any artists, please send them my way. I'd love to talk to them. Love to give them a platform to give a shout out for their music. So thanks for listening, guys.